Amor Fati. You're standing in your kitchen after a difficult day, washing dishes in warm water, when you notice something strange happening in your mind. The argument with your colleague, the unexpected bill, the traffic that made you late. These frustrations that felt so heavy just hours ago are beginning to shift into something else. Not quite acceptance, not quite surrender, but something deeper and more mysterious. Could it be possible that the very experiences you wished hadn't happened might somehow be essential to who you are becoming? The ancient Stoics called this amor fati, love of fate, not mere tolerance of life's difficulties, not passive resignation to suffering, but actual love for everything that unfolds in your experience. The paradox is breathtaking in its audacity, to not just endure the painful, disappointing, and chaotic moments of existence, but to embrace them with the same warmth you'd offer to your greatest joys. How can the human heart learn to love what it instinctively wants to resist? On one hand, this seems to go against every fiber of your being. When you lose someone dear to you, when illness strikes, when dreams crumble, your natural response is to wish things were different. You want to push away the pain, to negotiate with reality, to find some way back to how things were before. This resistance feels protective, even healthy. Surely you're not meant to celebrate suffering or welcome tragedy into your life. Yet on the other hand, something profound happens when you consider that every experience, pleasant or painful, has contributed to the exact person you are in this moment reading these words. The heartbreak that taught you compassion, the failure that redirected you toward something better suited to your nature, the loss that revealed depths of strength you never knew you possessed. Without these experiences, you would be someone entirely different, and that different person would never have existed to appreciate what you've learned. The deeper you explore Amor Fati, the more you realize it's not about becoming emotionally numb or pretending that pain doesn't hurt. When you stub your toe, you still feel the sharp sting. When relationships end, grief still moves through you like weather through an open landscape. The difference lies in your relationship to these experiences. Instead of adding the extra layer of suffering that comes from wishing reality were different, you begin to develop a curious kind of intimacy with whatever arises. Consider how a river flows around rocks in its path. It doesn't spend energy resenting the obstacles or plotting to remove them. The rocks become part of the river's character, creating the particular music of that waterway, the specific patterns of current and foam that make it unique. Your difficulties and setbacks work in a similar way, shaping the flow of your life into something that could never be replicated. The question becomes, can you learn to appreciate the song your life is singing, including the notes that feel discordant? This doesn't mean becoming passive or failing to work toward positive change. You can love your fate while still making choices, setting boundaries, and pursuing growth. The love comes in recognizing that even your efforts to improve your circumstances are themselves part of the unfolding pattern. You advocate for justice, not despite amor fati, but because your nature has been shaped by experiences that awakened your sense of fairness. You seek healing not in opposition to fate, but because fate has given you both the wound and the capacity to tend to it. There's something liberating about releasing the exhausting work of constantly judging your experiences as good or bad, wanted or unwanted. When you practice amor fati, you discover that most of your suffering comes not from events themselves, but from your resistance to them. The traffic jam becomes a moment to notice your breathing. The criticism becomes information about how others perceive you. The disappointment becomes a teacher showing you where your attachments have grown too tight. This shift in perspective reveals one of Amor Fati's deepest gifts. It transforms you from a victim of circumstance into an active participant in your own becoming. When you love your fate, you recognize that you are not separate from the forces shaping your life. You are those forces, expressed as consciousness, making choices within the vast web of causation. Your responses to events become as much a part of fate as the events themselves, creating endless opportunities for wisdom, creativity, and growth. The practice asks you to trust something larger than your immediate preferences. Just as a plant doesn't resist the seasons, but finds ways to thrive within them, you begin to sense that your life has its own intelligence, its own timing, its own mysterious logic. The job you didn't get led to the one that truly suited you. The relationship that ended made space for deeper self-knowledge. The health scare motivated changes you've been avoiding for years. From this perspective, even your most challenging experiences become expressions of life's creativity working through you. As you settle into this understanding, you might notice that Amor Fati isn't something you achieve once and maintain forever. It's more like a practice of remembering, a gentle return to this perspective whenever you find yourself fighting with reality. Some days you'll feel genuine appreciation for your difficulties. Other days you'll simply try to soften your resistance just a little. Both responses are part of the path. Perhaps the most beautiful aspect of Amor Fati is how it changes your relationship with the present moment. When you're not spending energy wishing the past had been different or anxiously controlling the future, you become available to the richness of what's actually happening right now. The warmth of sunlight through a window, the weight of your body settling into rest, the miracle of breath moving quietly in and out without your conscious direction. These simple pleasures were always available, waiting for your attention to return home. It's not about solving the puzzle of why difficult things happen or convincing yourself that everything happens for a predetermined reason. It's about noticing that love is large enough to include everything, not just the experiences you choose, but the entire mysterious unfolding of being human in this particular moment, this particular life, this particular universe that somehow arranges itself perfectly for you to be exactly who you are, learning exactly what you're learning, becoming exactly who you're becoming.